I was bashing my head against the wall because I was doing these things and I wasn't really progressing anywhere. What I'm hoping to give today are ideas that will be applicable no matter what you're doing. No matter what book you're working out of, no matter what piece you're playing for your band, no matter what exercise.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, welcome again. If you have been here before, if you checked out my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, thank you so much. And if this is your first time seeing a video of me, thanks for giving me a couple of minutes of your time. So essentially, this is going to be a continuation of a couple of videos I've already posted, which talked about the warm-up and my trumpet rant on range. And I'll post those links below. If you haven't seen them yet, go check them out, because this kind of ties into it. So as I'm progressing as a trumpet player over the last 2 decades, I've used a lot of fantastic material to help me out, to become a better player, to become the player I've wanted, to address certain areas. So in this case, we're going to address range. And I've always sought out advice and guidance from people that I kind of looked up to, or that I thought had some valuable information to offer. And for me, it's never been one specific thing that anyone told me that has led me to an aha moment. It was about the realization that I had to combine various elements and figure out what works for me, both physically and mentally. So what I'm hoping to give today are ideas that will be applicable no matter what you're doing. No matter what book you're working out of, no matter what piece you're playing for your band, no matter what exercise. That's not to discredit any book. I mean, I've used lots of them myself. So I have used, the Arbin's book. I've used the Claude Gordon's breathing book. I've used the Flexus book, which is amazing. I've used the Maggio system, which has some great stuff in it. Altissimo Playing by John Lynch, wonderful book here. Um, a local trumpet player, Chase Sanborn, Brass Tactics, amazing advice there. Of course, the Clark books, so characteristic study as well as the technical study. Johnson's book, which is a local trumpet player who taught some of the most amazing players in the country. The list goes on. The special studies book by John Daniel, um, the Cole's books, all amazing. But I was bashing my head against the wall because I was doing these things and I wasn't really progressing anywhere until I started thinking about replicating results and paying attention to the entire system. So that's sort of what I've referenced in my range rant, which I'm going to talk about now. And hopefully I can give you some ideas that you can apply to no matter what you're playing. I've broken down my body into a couple of components, if you will. I'm talking about and I think about my lower body. I think about this region right here, my chest. And I think about, the embouchure, the neck, the lips, the tongue. What do these things do when I'm playing? And so, after I started looking at things from that perspective, worlds opened up to me personally. And what I encourage you to do is really think about what happens when you play a certain exercise, what happens when you play a certain range, um, in terms of, going from low to high. So what I think about is going top down, what are my chops doing? And for me, my chops needed to pucker more. I came from a more of a smiling embouchure to bringing my chops forward, bringing all these muscles into play, into an engaging all of these muscles and squeezing them almost, or emphasizing the forward motion of putting all of these muscles to work towards the aperture, so that when I put the air behind it, I was aware of that emphasis of forward. Now, some people might be going too far, and they might not be getting the results. So maybe the opposite might be true for you, backing this up. But really explore these muscles and how they engage and interact. And inside of my mouth, I really started to pay attention to my tongue. Where's my tongue? For years, it felt like it's just a random sort of thing that was in my mouth and I use it for tonguing, but that's it. However, what I've noticed is, and I've talked about this in my other video, there's an air channel being created by my tongue naturally almost without thinking about it. And I've only realized it after I started thinking about my own process. So explore your tongue. Then the breath in a video that I've referenced and the warm up I've referenced really helped me open up this area, the chest, my neck a bit. And that's a Greg Spence thing. At least that's where I got it from. And then down here, you know, these muscles here, this area here, people refer to it as the diaphragm. I started paying attention to when I engage it, how much do I engage it. So experiment, really get into experimenting, and then you will open up a whole new world to your playing that isn't dependent on an exercise, on a book, or a certain method. And here's personally what's happened to my own playing when I started thinking about these elements. So what I'm going for is the awareness of what physically I'm doing. A resonant sound should be the end product, and that needs to be carried through no matter what I'm playing. So I'm hoping that this is kind of helpful. Experiment, you know, with your tongue. Experiment with the muscles around your embouchure. See what they're doing. Experiment with this open breath. Really pay attention to when you're hitting certain inconsistencies in your approach, and then ask yourself, well, why am I doing this and how can I address them? And of course, further down, what am I doing with my lower body? If you want more help, please reach out to me, and I would love it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and happy practicing.